You know what's fascinating? I was having breakfast with a billionaire friend of mine last week, and I noticed something peculiar. While everyone else at the table was busy checking their phones, responding to emails, creating this whirlwind of activity around themselves, he was just sitting there, quiet, still, almost doing nothing. And that's when it hit me. The most successful people I've ever met, the ones who've truly made it to the top, they all share this one habit that nobody talks about. It's not what you think. It's not waking up at 4 a.m. It's not some elaborate morning routine. It's something far more counterintuitive. And honestly, when you first hear it, you might think I've lost my mind. But stick with me here, because what I'm about to share with you will completely transform the way you approach success. Now, I know what you're going through. You're working hard, aren't you? You're putting in the hours. You're reading the books, listening to the podcasts, maybe even waking up earlier than everyone else. You're doing all the things the experts tell you to do. But here's what's driving you crazy. You look around and you see these people, these ultra-successful individuals, and they seem almost relaxed. They're not running around like chickens with their heads cut off. They're not stressed out of their minds. And you're thinking, what am I missing? What do they know that I don't? And the worst part is, you feel like you're working twice as hard as they are, but getting a fraction of the results. Trust me, I've been exactly where you are. I remember spending years grinding away, thinking that success was just on the other side of more effort, more hustle, more doing. Here's the challenge nobody wants to talk about. We've been conditioned, programmed really, to believe that success is about addition. Add more tasks. Add more goals. Add more activities to your day. We celebrate being busy. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor. Someone asks how you're doing, and what do you say? Busy. Crazy busy. So busy. As if that's something to be proud of. But here's what's really happening. You're confusing motion with progress. You're confusing activity with achievement. And this matters more than you could possibly imagine, because every moment you spend on low-value activity is a moment you're not spending on the things that would actually transform your life. It's like trying to fill a bucket that has holes in it. You can pour all the water you want, work as hard as you want, but if those holes are there, you're never going to fill it up. Let me share something with you that changed everything for me. There's a principle in physics called the Pareto principle, but it goes deeper than just the 80-20 rule you've probably heard about. In nature, in systems, in life itself, there's always a small number of inputs that create a massive amount of outputs. Think about it. 20% of the tree's roots support 80% of the tree. 20% of your wardrobe gets worn 80% of the time. But here's where it gets really interesting. This principle doesn't just apply to what you do. It applies to what you don't do. The ultra-successful have figured out something profound. They've discovered that elimination is more powerful than addition. They've mastered what I call strategic subtraction. While everyone else is asking, what more can I do? They're asking, what can I stop doing? And that's the secret. That's the habit nobody talks about. The ultra-successful are masters at doing less. Now, before you think I'm telling you to be lazy, let me be crystal clear. I'm not talking about doing less work. I'm talking about doing less of the wrong work. There's a massive difference. See, your mind is the most powerful tool you have, but it's also got limited bandwidth. Every decision you make, every task you take on, every commitment you agree to, it all draws from the same well of mental energy. And when that well runs dry, and it will run dry, you've got nothing left for the things that actually matter, the things that would actually move the needle in your life. The billionaire I mentioned earlier, you want to know his secret? Every quarter, he does what he calls a subtraction audit. He literally lists everything he's doing and asks himself one simple question for each item. If I wasn't already doing this, would I start doing it today? If the answer is no, he stops. Immediately. No guilt. No second guessing. Just stops. So let me give you a framework you can use right now. I call it the 3 circles of impact. Imagine 3 concentric circles. The outer circle represents everything you're currently doing, all your tasks, all your commitments, all your activities. The middle circle represents things that have a moderate impact on your goals. They're nice to do. They make you feel productive, but they're not game changers. The inner circle, the smallest one, that's the magic circle. That contains the 3 to 5 activities that create 90% of your results. Now, here's what most people do. They spend 90% of their time in the outer and middle circles and only 10% in that inner circle. The ultra-successful flip it. They ruthlessly eliminate or delegate everything outside that inner circle and spend almost all their time there. It's not about doing more. It's about doing more of what matters and less of everything else. Let me give you some practical steps you can implement right now. First step, and this is crucial, do a time audit for 1 week. I mean, really track where your time goes, every hour. You're going to be shocked. Most people think they're spending their time one way when the reality is completely different. Write it all down. Be honest with yourself. No judgment, just awareness. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Second step, identify your power activities. These are the activities that, when you do them, create exponential results. For a business owner, it might be client acquisition or product development. For someone climbing the corporate ladder, it might be relationship building or strategic planning. For an artist, it might be creation and sharing their work. What are yours? Really think about this. What 3 to 5 things, if you did them consistently and well, would transform your entire situation? Write them down. Third step, and this is where it gets uncomfortable, create your stop doing list. Yes, you heard that right. Not a to-do list, a stop doing list. Go through everything you identified in your time audit and ask yourself that question. If I wasn't already doing this, would I start today? Be ruthless. That committee you're on that drains your energy? Stop. Those meetings that could be emails? Stop. That social media scrolling disguised as market research? Stop. That project you started 2 years ago that you've lost passion for? Stop. I know it feels wrong. I know you're thinking about what people will say. But here's the truth. Every yes to something that doesn't serve you is a no to something that would. Fourth step, implement what I call the 24-hour rule. Before you say yes to any new commitment, any new project, any new activity, wait 24 hours. Give yourself permission to think about it. Ask yourself, does this fit in my inner circle? Will this move me closer to my goals or just make me busier? You'll be amazed how many things you realize you don't actually want to do when you give yourself this breathing room. Fifth step, schedule your power activities first. Not around everything else, first. Block out time for your 3 to 5 most important activities before anything else gets on your calendar. Treat these blocks like unmovable appointments with the most important person in the world, because they are. They're appointments with your future self. And here's a little trick. Don't schedule them for when you have leftover energy. Schedule them for when you're at your peak. If you're a morning person, do your power activities in the morning. If you come alive at night, do them then. Work with your natural rhythms, not against them. Sixth step, embrace the power of no. This is perhaps the most important skill the ultra-successful have mastered. They say no to almost everything so they can say yes to the right things. And here's how you do it without feeling guilty. When someone asks you to do something, instead of an automatic yes, try this. Let me check my commitments and get back to you. Then actually check, look at your power activities. Does this request align? If not, here's a magic phrase. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm at capacity right now, and I want to give my full attention to my current commitments. Most people will respect that. And the ones who don't, they're not your people anyway. Seventh step, delegate or eliminate everything else. If it's not in your inner circle, and it still needs to be done. Can someone else do it? Can you hire it out? Can you trade services? Can you use technology? Get creative here. I know you're thinking you can't afford to delegate, but let me ask you this. Can you afford not to? If you're spending 10 hours a week on tasks that aren't moving the needle, and you could pay someone $20 an hour to do them, that's $200. But if you spent those 10 hours on your power activities instead, activities that could generate thousands or tens of thousands in value, what's the real cost? You're actually losing money by not delegating. Now here's what's going to happen when you start implementing this. At first, you're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel like you're not doing enough. Your brain has been trained to equate busy with productive. So when you start doing less, it's going to panic. That's normal. Push through it. Because here's what comes next. You're going to start seeing results. Real results. The kind that make you wonder why you were spinning your wheels for so long. You're going to have more energy, more clarity, more focus. And people are going to notice. They're going to start asking you what you're doing differently. And you can smile and tell them you're doing less. Let me tell you something I've observed over decades of studying success. The people at the very top, the ones who've achieved extraordinary things, they all understand something fundamental about how the universe works. Energy flows where attention goes, but attention is finite. You cannot give your attention to everything and expect to excel at anything. The ultra-successful have made peace with this. They've accepted that to be exceptional at something, you have to be willing to be mediocre or absent in other things. And that's okay. More than okay. It's necessary. Here's your homework. Right now, today, I want you to do one thing. Just one. Identify one activity you're going to stop doing this week. Not reduce, stop. Completely eliminate it from your life. It could be a meeting. It could be a habit. It could be a commitment. Whatever it is, stop it. And then pay attention to what happens. Pay attention to the space that opens up. Pay attention to the energy you get back. Pay attention to what becomes possible when you're not pouring yourself into that thing anymore. Take note of it. Write it down. Share it in the comments. Tell me what you stopped doing and what changed. Because here's what I know for certain. You have greatness inside you. You have potential you haven't even begun to tap into. But you're never going to access it if you keep spreading yourself so thin that you're barely present anywhere. Success isn't about doing it all. It's about doing what matters. And what matters is so much smaller than you've been led to believe. 3 to 5 things. That's it. Master those. Eliminate or delegate the rest. And watch your life transform. So let me leave you with this. The secret habit of the ultra-successful isn't sexy. It's not going to make for a great social media post. You can't really brag about it at parties, but it works. It works because it aligns with how the universe actually operates. Concentration of effort produces exponential results. Diffusion of effort produces mediocrity. You get to choose. You've always gotten to choose. You just didn't realize that choosing to do less was an option. Well, now you know. Now you have the framework. Now you have the steps. The only question is, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to keep doing what everyone else does? Or are you going to join the small group of people who figured out that less really is more? I already know what you're capable of. The question is, do you? If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button because we're going deep on these principles. And drop a comment. Tell me one thing you're going to stop doing this week. Let's build this community of people who are committed to strategic subtraction. I'll see you in the next one. Now go do less and achieve more.